It's time for Console Crapshoot, where we spin a wheel to play a random video game on original hardware. And we are adding a new console to Carl's wheel this week. That's right, we finally finished modding the Philips CDI. I've got my Philips CDI 490, which is a great model right here. So that means we're probably going to have a new champion taking over for the Jaguar as the worst system we have on the wheel. Looking forward to that. Okay, no CDI today. We're going to be playing the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System. Sounds good to me. There's 680 games left on the NES wheel, and we've been on a pretty damn good 4 out of 5 game score streak lately, so let's hope to keep that going. Oh wow, Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. That is an interesting one. So what's funny here is this game is actually considered to be the worst, like the black sheep of all the Zelda games, except of course for the dreadful CDI Zelda games. So that's a funny coincidence since we just added the CDI to the wheel today. I'd much rather be playing this one than those. Another funny coincidence, this is the third Part 2 sequel that we've had in a row on the show. And speaking of Part 2s, this was really, Nintendo had found its magic, but it didn't find its quality control yet. There were a couple, probably a lot, of Part 2s that didn't really capture the greatness of the originals. Super Mario 2, the American version, even the Japanese version, not so great, and this one, also not so great. I wouldn't say either of the games are horrible, but not as good as the originals. And you might be saying, well, I loved Mario 2, and I loved Zelda 2 as a kid. And I hear you, nostalgia is powerful, but you gotta remember, kids are essentially morons. I'm pretty sure that's clinically proven. So first thing you're going to notice here is they broke the formula. The original Zelda was a top-down. The amazing third game, the Super NES, A Link to the Past, was also top-down. This game strayed a bit and went for like a side-scrolling sort of action game. And breaking the formula isn't necessarily a bad thing. They had to do it many times later with the Zelda franchise. But this one was sort of weak. It was made by mostly a different team. It began production before the original Zelda even came out. So it looked like they were kind of trying multiple things with this new franchise they had. A lot of the things that make a Zelda game are here. A lot of the things that went on to make a Zelda game started here, actually. But it's definitely an odd one, and I have an embarrassing admission to make. I never actually played this game. I have played and beaten every single mainline console Zelda game except for this one. So I think we're going to correct that today. Now, of course, I am busy. I have a job. This game is noted for being impossibly hard. There are certain things in the game, like, there are townspeople that give you hints to certain things, but there are other things that you would have no idea. So I'm not going to feel guilty about using a YouTube walkthrough. Kids back in the day beat this game using a Nintendo Power walkthrough. They didn't beat this on their own. If they say they did, they're lying. It would take such a stupid, goofy amount of time to find out what you had to do next at so many points in the game. There's hidden walls, there's spells that you have to cast in certain areas without any knowledge of what to do other than you saw it in the guide or your friend told you, The other thing about this game is it's really difficult, especially later. A lot of the enemies, you're gonna die a lot. So again, I don't have any shame in popping in some Game Genie codes so that I don't die a lot. I am gonna legit go through the entirety of the game and unlock all of the things in the game, but I'm following a guide and I'm not taking damage. Sorry if that's a problem. I'm not into torturing myself today. And it is torturous when you die in this game. So you get 3 lives generally, and every time you die, you can continue your game, you can save your game, but you automatically get transported all the way back to the beginning castle where Zelda is there sleeping. If you died super far away, you have to now make your way all the way back, and it's pretty frustrating. So I ain't doing that. You can see a lot of notable Nintendo kind of design choices, like the Mario Hammer Brothers. That's this guy totally. This curtain situation that keeps happening reminds me of Mario 3 a lot. And the music in this game is really good. People will knock it because it doesn't have the traditional Zelda themes, but it makes new themes. It makes its own themes, and some of them are bangers. And they reused one of those bangers in Super Smash Bros. Melee, first time that music came back. And this is a solid game. It's frustrating. It's way too hard and the hints are way too vague, but it's definitely not a bad game. I feel like people are maybe hard on it because it's a Zelda game. It's supposed to be held up to a higher standard. It is not a good Zelda game, but it's a good game. It has a lot of faults. If I didn't have the codes on, I probably would have thrown it out the window. But with the codes in the guide, it was really fun. I was able to beat this game on one nice Sunday at home. One little touch I really liked is when you beat a boss boss, when you get to the end of every castle or dungeon, whatever it's called, there's a light effect on Link that kind of shows his shadow next to him for a brief second. And if you don't know what's coming, you might not notice it, but later in the game, at the end of the game, you fight Link's shadow. It's pretty cool. It kind of comes back. This is actually a really good fight. It's well-programmed, well-designed fight if you don't cheat like I did. And this is a famous fight for, you can actually go into the left side of the screen, crouch down, and just keep stabbing, and you can beat him like that. Kind of funny that you can cheese such a good fight, but if you got this far, you're done kind of trying to prove anything. You just want to beat the game. So what would we rank Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link on the NES? It's a good game. There's a lot of good stuff here. I love the progression that you see that actually comes in later games, where you get powers, you get more abilities, you get more spells. Just about all of those upgrades and abilities lend something to the gameplay. You do feel like you're getting stronger as the game progresses. But, I can't really judge when I score a game. I can't really judge it on, oh, well, it's great if you use codes and a guide. I mean, it was great for me, but not really a fair place to judge from. Also unfair to give it its rating based on it being a Zelda game. If it's a 1 to 5 scale on all Zelda games, then this might be a 1 or a 2. But as an NES game on its own, I say it's good. I think high on the 3 out of 5 scale. I am really glad I finally got a chance to play this. I probably wouldn't have gotten around to it if it wasn't for the show. So this was cool. And if you're a kid and you're watching this, I do apologize for my comments earlier. You're cool. We're cool. But all right, that breaks the 4 streak. Can't complain. We've been eating good lately. Hope that holds till next week, and we'll see you then.